Do I believe that can happen? Absolutely. But demand on gold has all but disappeared.
Silver and gold spot prices have been taking us for a wild ride. As gold hit record highs for weeks straight, we have finally seen it pull back over 5% in the last just over a week. Silver has also pulled back from almost $30 an ounce to right now sitting at the mid $26 an ounce range. Now, how has this affected demand for gold and silver in local coin shops? Well, we're going to be talking about that and more with Josh from Minot Coin and Bullion about customers' demand, a shift from buying to selling, what people are saying about the pullback in spot price, and we're going to be talking about irresponsible spot price predictions that we tend to see in the media. Guys, this is a banger. I hope you hang out for this entire video. Josh had a lot to say, and it's his first time in front of the camera, so let's welcome him. But before we do me a favor, don't forget to like and subscribe and help us continue to grow the channel. My channel is sponsored by sdbullion.com. New customers can get their first order of gold or silver at spot by going to sdbullion.com/new. Josh, it's good to finally see you in front of the camera. How you doing?
Doing well. Hello, everybody.
It's definitely good to have you. And I want to get right into it. So spot price this week has been weak and even pulling back a little bit. I know you and I had talked a little bit, and you said that is resonating in your store with your customers with lower demand. Can you kind of give us an idea what's going on in the store this week with this pullback in spot price?
Yeah, definitely. I'll say this, demand on silver has still remained high. Demand on gold has all but disappeared. It's an interesting phenomenon, but it's almost predictable. As we talked several weeks ago, gold was in high demand. We had a lot of people coming in the shop selling, taking profits, and we had a lot of new people coming in buying gold. That's changed big time. I mean, gold's down 5%. It's down $120 maybe. And that's really slowed down in people's minds their desire to buy gold or even to sell gold. I've done just a handful of gold transactions, either buying or selling over the last 10 days. I mean, literally 3 or 4 is all maybe. It's ridiculous in a sense, but I haven't had to order any gold on the wholesale channel. That's fine, but silver demand still remains high, especially with 90% silver, more so than anything. That's what we're selling the most of, and we've talked because of the low premium. Yeah, but so demand has waned in the gold portion in my shop, but silver still remains very strong.
So why is that? So, I mean, silver's had a pretty strong pullback as well. I wonder why it's just affecting gold and not silver.
It's a good question. It's hard to get into the psyche and the mindset of customers, but I think a big part of it is a lot of and this isn't necessarily true either, but a lot of the big dollar buyers are the ones buying gold, and not always are they the most educated and versed in precious metals, because price that they buy in at doesn't matter too much to them, because for some of those, money really isn't an issue. As dumb as that sounds, it's true. So when gold gets hyped up in the news, oh, gold's hitting all-time highs, that's when they jump in. For those that really pay attention to the market, and they have to carefully select times to get in and times to get out because every single penny matters, they're watching silver more so, because that's the metal for everybody, right? That's poor man's gold, they say. So, I mean, that's what we're stacking mostly too, is silver, of course. So I think that's a big part of it, because the demographic that really pays close attention to the market, most of those are silver buyers. So, these dips in the market currently have not hurt silver sales. In fact, they've probably helped a little because they're timing the dip.
So obviously this isn't affecting the people selling gold to you, but as far as the people buying gold, do you think that the Costco thing has had anything to do with demand in other locations? Because there's a lot of news touching on Costco selling gold bars, and quite cheaply from what I've heard. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, I don't have a Costco in my city. Our nearest one's 100 miles away, but I've seen a lot of the videos too on, especially if you use your Costco card and you get your cash back, and there are opportunities if you time it right based on spot, where you can get both gold and silver from Costco for cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, obviously they're not looking at replacement cost at the moment you buy it. They're looking at landed cost when they purchased it, right? Because they have a fixed price sitting out there on the shelf in the jewelry section, I've been told. There was a video another YouTuber did just this last week. 10-ounce silver bars, $299.99. I think they were Royal Canadian Mint maybe, but after cash back, ended up getting them pretty cheap for the time. So has that affected demand for me personally? Not too much, because like I said, I don't have a Costco within 100 miles. It's about 110 miles away. So, but I have had some customers talk to me about it. Oh, do you think it's a good deal? I said, well, I mean, it can be. It really just depends on when you show up and what the market's at, because from my understanding, they're advertising a fixed price.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. But depending on what the market does, if you hit that fixed price, like you had just mentioned that, and then you look at rewards cards, they don't charge a credit card fee, so you get 3-4% back on the right credit card. I mean, that really adds up really quick, especially in something as expensive as gold. I'm friends with I'm not going to say who it is, but with an industry insider is what we'll call him, and he believes that Costco right now is really just focused more on top line sales and not necessarily profit. He said. Yeah, he said he's really interested in seeing where it goes when they start losing a bunch of money if spot price pulls back, because it's a hard industry to be in, especially if you're working on it on such a scale like Costco is. But getting back onto the silver, we had talked about gold. You had said the demand is down for gold, but not for silver, and you had said that it's mainly because those people are much more in tune with the market. What have they been saying when they've been coming in with the spot price back? And have you seen a shift from, selling to buying? Are there more people buying than selling, so on and so forth?
It really depends on the day as far as a shift between buying and selling. I will tell you, what day was it? It was Tuesday this week. My first 6 customers that walked in the door sold. Nothing huge, but I think I open at 10 a.m. So I think by 10:30, I shuffled them all through. They literally, as one was leaving, another one was walking in, kind of thing. 22 to $25,000 of silver that they were selling. As I mentioned, gold velocity has really slowed. Nobody was selling me gold, but I had a lot of people selling silver that day. So it took darn near till the end of the day to get back into the positive in terms of cash flow because of all that I bought across the counter. But even though the price has dipped with silver, there are still people having to liquidate, having to sell, whether it be, immediate need, or in Tuesday's instance, I did have 2 different groups of people that came in that I found out after the second group came that they were beneficiaries of an estate that had been settled. There were 6 grandchildren. 2 of the grandchildren came to the shop. One had come like 20 minutes before the other person. And I didn't ask because it was strange, because they almost had identical stuff. They had tubes of uncirculated eagles. They had sheets of Canadian maple leafs. They had encapsulated, uncirculated Morgan silver dollars. It was like 2 identical groupings of stuff. And I didn't bring it up, but the second person actually did and said, oh yeah, we just settled grandma's estate. There were 6 of us. I'm going to grab a few of your business cards because some of the other grandkids might want to stop in. I didn't tell her, oh, one already did, but there are a lot of people still selling. Like I said, whether it just be I inherited it, I'm not interested, or I need cash because I'm hurting, because the economy isn't getting any better, despite what mainstream tries to tell you.
No, yep. I agree with that 100%. Those people that brought in the estate, I imagine that's probably what's going to happen with my stack when I pass and it goes to my kids. Except for
you never know.
Yeah, except for they'll be much more in line with the market because of what I do. So at least they won't walk into a shop. Well, I hope that they won't walk into a shop and get taken advantage of.
They'll be educated ahead of time.
They'll be educated ahead of time. Exactly. So you talked about the people walking in with the estate, and then you said other people are selling because the economy is tough. Would those people not have sold, when it was a little bit higher? Why would they wait until it starts pulling back?
Well, that's an interesting question. And I don't ask those questions when they come in, but my only thought is they didn't need the cash at the time. And they probably weren't paying attention to the market. A lot of times when people are forced to sell, it's really tough to time the market because it becomes an immediate, urgent need to liquidate. And I see that all too often. And unfortunately, I see a lot of it where, oh, I know you bought this from me kind of thing. And they're selling it back at a loss a lot of times. Not all the time, but, as silver was charging up, there were a lot of people coming in with things that they sold at profit to me. And they would beam ear to ear and tell me that, yeah, I bought these at $17 an ounce and you're going to pay me 28.50 or whatever it is. I said, yeah, that's great. Good for you. You were one that could time the market, but not everybody has that ability just based on need. So I think that's kind of where that falls.
That's fair. You know, a couple of weeks ago when silver was pushing almost $30 an ounce, I had made a video warning people that, you know, it definitely could pull back. I don't, you know, with this, I don't try and predict the
Right.
market, but it definitely could pull back. And of course it has. Has anyone been coming in talking about how they were expecting this pullback?
We have discussions. We're like a local barber shop here at Minot Coin and Bullion. We get a lot of regulars that come in literally every day. We discuss all things. A lot of times it's, related to the hobby, of course, precious metal investing. Yeah, I think we all saw it coming. When and to what degree of the pullback would happen, nobody knows. But the complete polar opposite, I have people coming in talking about or asking me, which I'm just like you, I'm not going to tell them what the price is going to be in the future because no one knows. And I'm very careful if they ask for an opinion about it too, because I don't want to misconstrue or imply that, I have insider knowledge that this is going to happen. But they'll ask me, well, where do you see silver going in 6 months? I've heard people say $1,000 by the end of the year, and I'll just kind of smile, say, I can't get behind that personally. There's no way I believe in that. But here's what I do believe. I do believe that silver's undervalued. To what degree, it's tough to say. They really press me for numbers. Well, what should it be? What should it be? And I did tell somebody a number the other day. I said, based on where we're at in the world, I don't see any reason silver couldn't and shouldn't be at least $40 an ounce, probably even higher. But it's not. It's 20. Well, now as we sit here, it's 26 and change because we had a pullback again today. It's tough. It's impossible to predict, and it's tough to verbalize that to customers who expect me to know and to be able to tell them, oh yes, you buy this today and in 6 months it's going to be worth 50 an ounce. No, I can't do that, and I won't do that. So there are a lot of those people that watch, well, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, not because you don't do this, I don't do this, but you know how there's some that really pump up metal and they're irresponsibly throwing out numbers, oh, $100 by the end of the year, and gold to 3,000. And do I believe that can happen? Absolutely. But there's no way I'm going to imply that it's guaranteed and it's going to happen because no one knows. So I think for those people, they have, maybe it's unfair to say this, but they have unrealistic expectations just because of information they've gotten from other people on platforms like this. Like I said, not from your channel because you're responsible about it, but from other channels. And they come in here and I try to ground them and bring them back to earth and just explain to them there's no guarantees in this. It's a volatile market. It's a commodity. It's unpredictable at best. But will it go up? 100% it will. But it's also going to go down 100%. So it's just a matter of when you get in and when you think you're going to get out, if you can make some money in metal.
Yep.
And it's a tricky game.
And just to provide some clarity, I am not the only channel that's responsible. There's plenty of good, responsible channels out there. But there's a few out there, and I won't name names. I'm sure people probably know that, like you had said, for years I've seen them with the same headlines. It's going to be $500 in 6 months, end of the year, silver to $250. And giving people timelines like that, it really creates what we talk about all the time, that FOMO. It creates people. It's like, oh, really? It's going to be $250 by the end of the year. I should buy now. And it's not that I don't think people should buy silver, Josh, and I think you'll agree with this. I'd love to hear your opinion. It's not that I don't think people should buy silver. I just think that they should not rush into it head first and make irresponsible decisions that could harm them on the other side, financially. Taking out loans or spending that savings that you had put aside for emergencies, whether it be you need a new car or you have an accident, things like that. I think those kind of headlines, those kind of titles give people the opportunity to say, yes, I should do this. And that's where I really don't like it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I see that frequently in here with new people coming in. Oh yeah, I read or I heard or I saw a video and this, and this, and I want to buy metal today. So obviously I'm here to provide that and provide a service and provide information. So, it's my job, I don't like this analogy, but I use it, but to talk them down from the ledge before they jump. It's like, don't jump into this thinking that you're going to get rich overnight because of some talking head you saw on the internet telling you to buy it. And those are the people that really, it's easy for us to say, but difficult for a lot of people to do, is to take the emotion out of it. You really have to take your emotions out of it and think rationally. And that's not easy to do for a lot of people when it comes to this. So unfortunately, and fortunately, because I think I do a pretty good job of helping people and explaining to them the other side of it to get them to kind of tamp down their expectations, I guess, when it comes to metals. But I deal with that so frequently here in the shop. In fact, there was someone in here yesterday that they were convinced that by the end of the year, silver was going to be over $100 per ounce and that gold was going to be 5,000 because they read articles about it and they saw people talking about it on the internet. So it must be true. So, without bursting out laughing and embarrassing them, I really have to try to, like I said, talk them back from the ledge. so they get into this with realistic expectations. And, and all responsible coin dealers do that. And there's a lot of great ones out there. So that's just kind of what we have to do with people. And, because we don't want them coming back to us at the end of the year mad. Well, silver's not $100, and I bought it at 27 and now it's 28. Why isn't it 100? I mean, well, I don't control it. So
yeah,
it's tricky. It's tricky.
Here's a question. With the silver price pulling back, I get people that comment all the time say, well, silver price is going to pull back, but they'll increase the premium. So it'll still be the same price. Have you seen any effect on premiums at all? Or are they still remaining pretty low?
Most things are remaining pretty low. One thing we've already started to see an increase on is American Silver Eagles. Depending on sources and who you get them from, they're nearly $5 an ounce over spot wholesale to get American Silver Eagles. So what does that do to the retail premiums? Well, it has to push them up. I haven't raised mine probably enough yet. Quite honestly, I'm still at 525 over spot for uncirculated Eagles. But I did see a major wholesaler advertising their current prices yesterday. And I believe on backdate Eagles for sealed monster boxes, they were plus $4.70 wholesale. And for 2024s, they were plus $5.10. So that's going to push retail premiums to $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 on some of the websites. So if you are buying Eagles, I encourage you to shop around because we're getting into the period now as premiums rise on those, depending on who you're buying from, what online source or what local coin shop, are going to fluctuate wildly. So I've already seen it because I've done some cross-checking on some major bullion sites, and there's some that are quite high. And that's why. I mean, replacement costs have went up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because I had talked earlier this year about how I was getting back into stacking Eagles, and now I'm starting to pull back away from it again because the premium's moving back up.
Now is the time to continue to stack 90%, if that's something you like to stack. And that's just my advice. And that's what I'm selling a lot of in the shop. I have a lot of customers that are coming and buying 90% for the first time. They were the ones that used to buy Eagles and buy 10-ounce bars and buy rounds. Now they're stacking 90% because the premiums are less.
Yeah, I have noticed the premiums at 90% are low, so definitely a good time if that's what you're into.
Yep.
So I think we'll cut it off there, Josh. We don't want to talk too much. I'll never be able to have you on again because we'll have covered everything. But
I don't know if we'd ever cover everything.
But I appreciate you coming and joining us again and giving us insight into the market. And guys, as always, Josh does have his own channel, Minot Coin and Bullion. I'll put a link in the description below. Make sure you go over there and give him a sub, give him a like. He holds sales every once in a while. You can take advantage of those while you're over there, and you can contact him anytime. Josh, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Take care.